So which of the following two slides more accurately describes your actions up to date in the course? So we've talked about learning and effective ways of learning and how learning works a little bit so far. But I want you to think about what have you been doing in this course or any other course that you've been taking, and how which of these following two slides more fits into what you're doing. You're probably doing some of the good things and some of the things that aren't so good. So here are the top four reasons students do not do well. They don't spend enough time on the material. They might start your homework too late. So if you start the homework a day before the exam, it's really going to be tough to be able to cram all that information in. Because if you run into a misunderstanding, you have a very short amount of time to fix that misunderstanding. You don't use the textbook. The textbook is a really good resource. It's videos and lectures. They are typically condensed from the textbook. They are typically tried to be like kind of like they're like diluted versions of or condensed versions of the textbook. So the book is going to give you more knowledge. It might talk to you about a method that the instructor just didn't have time to cover in the class. The textbook's a really good way to learn more material, and you can also do it on your own time. And then often another thing is sometimes students will read material, but they won't apply it, or they'll watch a video, but they won't actually try the problem themselves. So make sure you practice the problems. If you don't practice the problems, you can watch a ton of videos. You can read a bunch of, or you can go through your notes, but until you apply that knowledge, you're leaving yourself at risk for not doing well on the exams. All right. So students who seem to do well, they do most of these things. They preview a review for every class, so that before they come to class or before they watch the videos online, they kind of know what they're going to get into. After they finish the class, they don't just throw it away or put that information. They quickly review, so you're not spending too much time, but you're just trying to quickly recap and summarize what you've done so far. They typically will do a little bit of their homework at a time. They won't try to do all the problems for weeks of the class, like a couple days before the exam. They'll do it during the weeks as the material is being introduced. They will use their book and they will do all the suggested homework problems, and they typically utilize study groups and they work in teams really, really well. All right. So this is to kind of show, this is a case study that was done at the New Mexico State by an engineering professor who did the same process. He showed them these slides. He looked at on metacognition and learning strategies, and he surveyed the students and tried to identify what was their current use of the strategies. Were they using the strategies or were they not using the strategies? And he notices that students who were not using the strategies initially scored very low on the first two exams in his course. They got 58s, 54s, and then the students who were using the strategy, they were doing really well. They had 95s and an 80 average on the first two exams. In the second, so he showed them this presentations, all right, and what he did is he said, okay, try to apply this to your strategies, and he monitored how did the students do, all right. So here's what they found, all right. He found that the class average increased from a 65.7 on the first two exams to an 80.5. That's so much better, all right, in such a short period of time. And the only thing that difference is students didn't magically get smarter. The only thing that changed is that they applied the learning strategies. Okay, they changed their behavior. So they started doing their homework. All right, they read the material. They spent more time studying. They rewrote their notes. They studied for the class every day, and they worked together with their classmates. So try to do that stuff as much as you possibly can. All right. All right. So think about how you're going to what strategies can you use. So this is just a summary of things that you can do to try to get better in this course and in all your courses, and hopefully also apply it to your jobs when you start those as well.